Well, with all the injuries going down on the offensive line this year, what's it meant to have you and Cage just kind of be consistent there on your end?
Um, it definitely helps to have those kind of anchors, I would call them. Just guys who are consistent, guys who are available, and me and Cage both have a lot of experience, so it helps kind of like keep that line up and running and help us get in rhythm like that. So reliability and consistency super matters in football, and having the same people in game after game can really help.
Well, what's it been like just kind of trying to, every week it seems like that other side, you have a new lineup of guys, and for the most part it's kind of gone the same as normal. What's it been like just getting those new guys ready and just keeping things going?
Yeah, we develop players here, so it's not just the starters that get that attention in meetings or in practice. Everyone gets their reps, and that leads to trust on the O-line. It's essential to O-line, especially all five guys working together, and to have someone who can come in and seamlessly kind of operate means everything, especially when it comes to depth on a team.
Ben, for you guys have ran the ball really effectively in the fourth quarter. I mean, I know Ashton leads the country in like every rushing stat, but like particularly in the fourth quarter, he's been really, really good. So,
yeah.
Can you guys tell when you're starting to break a team?
Yeah, 100%. Every team wants to come out and they're all fired up. They're playing the Broncos, but it's hard the last four quarters with any team. But I think, especially us, I think we have this idea that they're going to break, and we just kind of keep chipping away. Keep swinging that hammer is what we always say. And I know by the fourth quarter that they're not coming off blocks like they used to. They're kind of putting their arm out, hoping they won't get yelled at on the sideline, kind of thing. And we take them out to deep water, see if they can tread.
How what does it feel like when you guys when you realize you kind of hit that moment?
Put your foot on their necks is what we always say. Like, don't let up now just because it's getting easier. This is our time to like really hammer them away and make sure they don't come back from this.
I mean, you've been going all season. How do you feel on a Sunday morning?
Sore. I feel, but I feel good. Especially we've gotten these wins and we've gotten this rhythm. And week 13, you kind of have a process. So I go in there, I meet with Garrett, I figure out what I need to do to get right for the week, and we execute that plan.
I mean, you kind of touched on it there. Just what does your recovery process look like?
Yeah, so we have almost every gadget that you can think of in that training room. So get hooked up on as many of those as I can, and then do some exercises, some strengthening, some stability stuff to make sure all those things are firing the way they should be.
Do you think there's anything that you're doing that's helped you stay fit all year, or is it just luck of the draw?
A lot of it just comes down to how the cards are dealt. There's football's a violent game. So if you get someone 300 pounds kind of going into your knee the wrong way, there isn't much training or prep that you could have done to stop him from breaking your knee. So I definitely have been lucky, and I think God's looked out for me a lot. So just hoping it stays that way.
What would 2,000 for Ashton picking it up this week? What would it mean to you guys up front?
That's been our goal in our head for since the beginning of the season. So for him to hit that, obviously super proud of him. He deserves that. He's worked super hard, and it's always a little chip on our shoulder that we can get him that for him.
What do you know about his bet with Mason?
Yeah, I was there when he made that bet. He seemed pretty confident when he made it. He didn't really seem to he didn't really second guess himself. He was like, yeah, for sure, I'll get 2,000 yards and I have to shave my head, So we were talking about it a little earlier this week, and we're gonna go out to dinner and celebrate and stuff. So hopefully he picks a nice place.
What was your reaction? I mean, obviously 2,000's a lofty goal, but were you kind of like, all right, let's go, we can do this?
Yeah, I mean, just the pace of him was really impressive. He just, even like when some games, like you said, we would get that first quarter, second quarter, we're like, oh, these are just not coming. And then he'd break off a 50-yard one, and by the end of the game, I'm like, oh, he probably had like 100, and then it was like 175 with like 4 touchdowns. I'm like, okay, so it was a little better than I thought.
Well, the other end of that is Mason has to get a tattoo of the total yardage, right?
I think he does, yeah. So that'll be fun.
Do you ever think
replacement?
You ever think to tell him like, hey, that's permanent, and Ash might be able to do it?
I mean, I might get one myself if he wins the Heisman or something. I got to remember that by something. So we'll see where he wants to get that placed.
Ben, you know how to come up? Like you said, you were there. Like
yeah,
you guys just sitting around joking and or like how's it?
Yeah, I think we were just talking about the season and our goals for the season and stuff, and Mason's like, you better break 2,000 yards. And he's like, I will. And he's like, well, let's bet on it then. And so it was just, we're always hyper competitive like that. And he was just starting to really grow his dreads out. So I think that's why that came into the conversation, give him a little extra fire.
For you, how much are you, Ben, you seem like you're playing with so much joy right now. How much are you enjoying this right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the last hurrah. So, kind of taking nothing for granted, really enjoying every opportunity I get to hang out with my team. I mean, I love these guys. I've been here for 6 years. I mean, a lot of these guys are my family or even closer, so it means everything for me to just be with them.
Do you enjoy being in like the hype circle pregame?
The hype circle?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You got like the big one, and then there's kind of like the smaller ones where it's more like your linemen and stuff like that. But
when Mike Callahan starts talking to us,
but I also feel like you've kind of wound up in your own little hype circle at times.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So we got a little like routine. I gotta get the boys hyped, So Mike does like that first one after the first warm up, gets us kind of turned up, and then I do one over on the sideline right before we go to our team stuff. So I enjoy it. I enjoy kind of all that adrenaline coming through and everyone kind of pushing each other, getting ready.
Do you think about the messaging like before? Is it pretty consistent? Like,
yeah, it's always. I think the main message is just like we want to go out there, we want to be like dominant and physical, and so it always kind of revolves around that. I kind of say it a couple of different ways. I've learned a couple of the cliches, the mantras to kind of evoke that effect.
There's like the exciting stuff kind of like that where you're yelling and there might be some other words in there too. But then there's like Spencer and the line that he says, I don't know, like 54 million times this year probably.
Oh yeah.
What's the line? How does it go again?
This is our most important game because it's the next one.
So how many times do you think you've heard that, and why is it still effective for you guys?
I think it's just. I think a lot of people have said it before me, but repetition, like it's an easy phrase to grab onto. It's repeated the whole time. It can kind of become this mantra for us. Like, we can't overlook anybody, respect all, fear none. We have a bunch of different ways of saying it, but he's harping that message. And every time, you want to start looking ahead, you have that urge to be like, okay, what's the playoffs? Or you want to look behind you and like, we've won 6 games, like that phrase just kind of brings you back to the present, kind of keeps you grounded a little bit.
Do you guys joke around about it at all? Like how often he says it, or?
If Coach D, that's kind of his whole thing. Like this one phrase, he says it a lot, but he's got a lot of different phrases that he likes to throw in there. So yeah, we have a couple jokes going around with him.
Roger, coach is saying he's close to being back. I don't know if he'll be in this game or not, but after losing so many guys on the line, what would it mean to actually get one back?
Yeah, that's just that fresh blood, and we need that. And Roger is like a different type of human. He definitely brings that juice. He's definitely got that little bit of a screw loose, which is what you need on O-line, and he definitely brings that energy.
We've heard a lot about Roger and Mason and their leadership on the sidelines. What's that meant to you?
It definitely takes a lot of they shoulder that responsibility with me, being the older guys in that room, being the kind of the leaders in that room. And, if they were to get hurt and kind of just take a step back from the team and not really help at all, it would kind of fall to me, Cage, and a lot of those other people who are trying to do their best. But to have them, be on the sideline and giving guys advice and making sure that we're on the right track, and they have a different perspective on it. So it's really cool, I think. I think it's super needed, and they've done really well.
What has it taken for Raj to get to this point?
A lot of work. I mean, that guy's in the training room. I've actually never not seen him in the training room. I go in there, I leave, I'll come back, he's still in there kind of just grinding away. That guy he's eager to get back.
One more, and that's just Ashton's 36-yard touchdown run came through the left side last week,
and
it broke J.J.'s single-season school rushing record here. What was your view or angle on that run?
I think I was climbing to a backer, and I think I got him on the ground, and I didn't realize that he had broken it off quite yet, and so I was still trying to get the guy on the ground. So I mean, a lot of these times I'm focused more on the block, and then I'll see Ashton going, and I'll run to the sideline.
At what point is it usually like when he's in the end zone that you look up and it's over, or like?
Yeah, it's usually right when I'll hear like a whoosh, he's fast, so I'll put my guy on the ground, I'll look up, and he's already close to the end zone. I'm like, nice.
You like celebrating with him down there? You were one of the first ones there after that.
It's usually pretty hard for me to get down there because the wide receivers will usually beat me or the quarterbacks will beat me. So I'm usually kind of like the last one, and he's already kind of running away from me, and I'm like, all right, I'll get him next time.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.